After a disappointing season last season, this is the season we go for glory. We've once again signed a lot of players. We start by making the 3 Argentinian loans permanent in Cordero, Torres and Cerdan for 21 million combined, which is some incredible business. We then sign another youngster in centre-back Nenad Terzic for 4.5 million from Partizan Beograd, before we make a funny but brilliant signing. We start by signing Robin van Persie as a coach, and a lot of you probably know where I'm going with this. We then sign his son, Shaquille van Persie, for 40 million from Feyenoord. So we'll have a father-son duo at the club, and we all know how insane he becomes in basically every FM save. So it's a big statement from us. We then sign Region on a free and another youngster in Silas Tiefenbrunner for 11 million from Dortmund. Will be a rotation option for Chanusen in the false 9 role. Then we make another huge signing, as we bring in Mikael Kayode from Fiorentina. He's come in for 53 million, moving up to 67, so it's a big investment as well. The final 3 signings were Antonis Christodoulou from Crystal Palace for 16 million, Abdurrahman Uresin for 9.5 million from Fenerbahce, and Yusuf Mokoko, who makes his return. He's only on loan though, but he's coming back from Man City, where he's only played 3 games by the way, in a whole year, so he was more than happy to come back on loan. Now you're probably wondering how the hell I've been able to sign so many players. I've sold a stupid amount of players as well. We've sold Thiago Jallo for 4.7 million, Bamba for 25.5 million, Beck for 20.5 million, Florian Neuhaus for 2.6 million, Adam Karabek for 25 million, Bakary Jatta and Van den Boomen for 11 million each, Gersino Niamsi for 7.5 million, and finally Ignas van der Bremt for 26.5 million, moving up to 37 million. Pep Guardiola has just been sacked by Bayern. He hasn't won a single Bundesliga for them during his time back in Germany, so it's only right. And Marco Rose has left RB Leipzig for a job at Newcastle, and Pep apparently wants the Leipzig position. This could get crazy. First of all, Bayern have hired Mauricio Pochettino as Pep's replacement. It's definitely an interesting appointment, and his latest club was Nottingham Forest of all clubs. There he didn't really get a lot done, and was in the bottom half the whole time, and barely avoiding relegation twice in 3 years. So it's kind of a weird appointment from Bayern. And second of all, Julian Nagelsmann has just returned to RB Leipzig. He's left AC Milan to return to the second ever side he was manager for. That's actually hilarious, and we'll get many more duels between Nagelsmann and Nagelsmann.
Wagwan Generals.
The season preview has us in 4th behind the big 3, Bayern, RB Leipzig and Dortmund. I genuinely think we could be in a title fight this season, since both Leipzig and Bayern have new managers, and Dortmund had a horrible season last season. But the goal is to at least get one of the UCL spots. We've got Bayern away at the Allianz in the first league game. After a bit of a dull game, they take the lead deservedly in the 81st, as Mathis Tell scored off the post. So we start the season with a loss. The next 3 league games we win 2-1 against Hoffenheim, 3-1 against Augsburg and 1-0 against Schalke. Our goals against Hoffenheim came from Kayode and Shaq. Chanusen then got a brace against Augsburg before Vipers got the only goal against Schalke. We're now heading into the Europa League. There we'll face Valencia, Astana, Hajduk Split and Man City away, and Westerlo, Everton, Braga and Midtjylland at home. First up is Valencia, and we smashed them 3-0 away from home. Viper and Chanusen were the 2 names to follow in said game, as Viper got 1 and Chanusen got the other 2.
Banger after banger.
Before the next game against Westerlo, we lost 4-2 against Union Berlin. We had 4.09 XG, and they had 1.55, so that was pain. We did hit back though, by winning 4-0 at home against Westerlo, as Viper, Mittelstedt, Shaq and Acuna got a goal each.
LOL!
Against Bayer Leverkusen in the next game, we went 1-0 down after 30 minutes. But we hit back by scoring 4 in a row. Chanusen, Mukoko, Cerdan and Acuna scored as Mittelstedt got himself 3 assists and man of the match. We conceded once more though, in the 86th, but that didn't matter and we won 4-2. Next up is RB Leipzig and Julian Nagelsmann. So it's time for Nagelsmann versus Nagelsmann 2. Yeah, we lost again. It was quite a dull game and almost scored the only goal. Acuna did have this huge chance at the death, but he missed. So it's 2-0 to Nagelsmann. And it got way worse, as Viper, Mittelstedt and Cordero have all been injured. Viper got it done against Westerlo and is out for 5 to 6 weeks. Mittelstedt fucked up his hip again and is out for 2 to 3 months. And Cordero is out for a month.
No pain. Mild, moderate, severe, very severe.
The next 3 games we struggle in 2 of them. First we draw 1-1 against Stuttgart, where we struggled to score our XG. Then we smashed Frankfurt 5-0 in a game we massively outscored our XG. And finally we lost 3-2 against Mönchengladbach and we once again struggled to score. After 10 league games we're in 5th, but we are incredibly far behind the top 4 already. We've got 16 points, and Augsburg in 1st have 25. What the hell are they doing there, by the way? So we're already 9 points off the title fight. One of you also mentioned in the comments what Augsburg were doing in the UCL spots. And well, they've improved on that as well. Going back to Europe, we took an early lead against Everton through Barrios. Everton then equalized as the last thing that happened in the first half, as Van der Voort does shite. Terzic then gave us the lead again with this header in the 77th. But Everton then equalized again, and in added time again, as Beto scored this. And I was certain that this was offside, but apparently not. So a 2-2 draw against Everton.
Are you stupid or something?
Thankfully though, we ran over Braga in the next game to get back to winning ways. Shaq scored twice and Reguilón got the final one in a 3-1 win. The final 5 league games before the Christmas break, we finally pick up some momentum. First, we scrape a 1-0 win against Mainz as Chanozon scored a pen. We then drew 1-1 against Hertha Berlin in a game we didn't really deserve anymore. The following game, we just about, but deservedly, win 1-0 against St. Pauli in the Hamburg derby, as we show the whole of Hamburg that we are the biggest club in town. And finally, we win 3-0 against both Wolfsburg and Köln. Against Wolfsburg, Viper got a brace, and Silas the final one. And against Köln, Acuna, Reguilón and Chanuzon from the spot. The second to last game in the Europa before the break, we travel all the way to Kazakhstan to face Astana. It's a flight that takes at least 10 hours. But it was worth it, as we win 5-0. Viper got himself a hat-trick, and Chanuzon got a brace. Shaq assisted all 3 of Viper's goals, by the way, and they were basically identical. And in the final game before the break, we win quite easily 3-1 away to Hajduk Split. An own goal plus 1 each from Rice and Chanuzon made it 3. In the winter transfer window, we sell Amos Pieper to Red Bull Salzburg for 9.75 million. He's been complaining about his playing time, so he's asked to be sold. Therefore, we sell him and bring in Mike Wazowski. Well, that's not his actual name. This is. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. And I'm not gonna learn that properly. So I've nicknamed him Mike Wazowski, and you'll see a bit of a change to his face eventually. We then signed Weston McKennie for 12.5 million from Juventus, and he'll probably play a squad player role. This January is gonna be tough, since 5 of our youngsters are going away on international duty. Now! In the middle of the season. They'll miss our games against Freiburg, Dortmund, Hoffenheim, Midtjylland, Bayern and Man City. So we're definitely gonna struggle with fatigue.
I'm tired.
The final 2 games of the first half of the season was a draw and a win. We drew 2-2 against Freiburg in a frustrating game. We then won 2-0 against Dortmund. Chanuzon and new signing McKennie scored our goals in a huge win. So at the halfway point, we're actually in 3rd. It's so tight this season though. I mean, the top 5 have 36, 34, 33, 33 and 32 points. Hopefully we can continue our brilliant form we've had lately and make a title push. Well, we lose our next game. So typical, man. We lose deservedly 1-0 against Hoffenheim. The final 2 Europa League games are next. First, we win comfortably 4-0 against Midtjylland, before going to the Etihad. At the Etihad, I had to rotate the team quite a bit, because of the Argentina under-23 bullshit. But that didn't matter. Silla scored a fucking hat-trick! And we went 3-0 away to Manchester City and Erling Haaland. So we actually win the Europa League phase with 22 points out of a possible 24. It's now time for a huge game, at home against Bayern. We have to win in order to stay in the title fight, as we're 6 points behind them. We took a very early 2-0 lead, as Shaq and Chanusson scored one each. The following 12 minutes, we conceded twice. Sane and Vanner scored. Limer then hit the post with this shot in the 75th, but 2 minutes later we scored again. Moukoko scored from Coyote's low cross to give us the lead again. Just 4 minutes after that again though, Limer scored to equalize once again. Kobel then made this insane save in the 88th to deny Shaq. From the following corner, up rose Jonathan Tah to give us the lead for the 3rd time. And a 4-3 win against Bayern to move within 3 points of the league leaders.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
You're probably wondering where the DFB-Pokal games have gone? Well, here it comes. We won 5-0 against Türkgücü München in the first round, 2-0 against Nürnberg in the second, and 4-0 against Paderborn in the third. And we've now got Augsburg in the quarters. We went 1-0 down as Bellio scored this header 13 minutes in. Chanusson then equalized in the 27th, before Shaq scored to give us the lead 9 minutes later. And in the 84th, Shaq scored again with this weird-ass goal to cement the result and get us through to the semis. The 4 next league games we win 2 and draw 2. First, we win 2-0 away to Schalke rather undeservedly. But it's so nice to see us finally overperforming our XG for once. We then drew 1-1 against Augsburg in a disappointing game, before just about picking up a 3-2 win against Union Berlin. We had a 3-0 lead, but conceded twice to make it nervy. And finally, we drew 3-3 against Bayer Leverkusen after going both 2-0 and 3-2 down. So I'll take it. Cordero also got a straight red. It's time for Nagelsmann vs Nagelsmann 3. And this time, it's actually a huge game for both teams' title chances. It was a cagey affair the first 30 minutes, and Olmo got the opener in the 35th. But straight from kickoff, and after 13 passes by the way, Rice played this insane pass over the top to Moukoko, who slotted it in to equalize it. And in the 57th, Rice scored this deflected goal, which actually got counted as an own goal for Simakan, to give us the lead. Simakan then made his night worse, as he missed this big chance, and Shaq decided to add on to the misery. He scored this insane goal from McKennie's great pass over the top to win 3-1 against Leipzig, and secured Nagelsmann his first victory against Nagelsmann. So it's 2-1 now.
And I would suggest you don't know anything about anything.
Against Stuttgart in the 25th league game, Viper missed 3 huge chances in the space of a minute, so we draw 0-0. That means we're in 4th after 25 games. Dortmund and Leipzig have a game in hand, and it's so fucking tight, it's actually ridiculous. The top 5 have 50, 49, 49, 48 and 47 points. Now it's time for the round of 16 of the Europa League, and we've been drawn against Fenerbahce. It's away from home in the first leg and at home in the second. So away from home in the first leg, we took an early 2-0 lead as Serdan scored this screamer, and Shaq scored this header. We then conceded twice in quick succession in the 62nd and 68th minutes. So we draw 2-2 against Fenerbahce. But in the second leg, we ran all over them. We won 7-1. Moukoko, Torres, Moukoko again, Chanusson, Terzic, Chanusson again, and Serdan scored our goals in one of the weirdest games of knockout football I've seen.
That's fine.
I want to hurt myself, yeah.
We need to win our next few games in the league to be in with a chance of winning the title. We didn't do that, but we didn't lose either. First, we drew 1-1 with Frankfurt in a disappointing performance. And then we won 4-2 against Mönchengladbach before once again drawing 1-1, this time against Mainz. Now though, it's time for the quarterfinal of the Europa. We've been drawn PSV, and we're at home in the first leg, which is kinda pain. The first leg was also pain. Benitez pulled off this big save, and Chanelson and Coyote missed these two huge chances. PSV then scored this shite deflected goal through Facundo Torres in the 71st, so we lose 1-0 and we'll have to do a big job away in Holland. You know how some people believe that things happen for a reason? Well, the Bible says the Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. So with that logic, the Lord made Shaq get injured, so that Moukoko could come on for him and subsequently drop a masterclass. First, Benitez pulled off this save, but 13 minutes after that, Moukoko scored this heavily deflected goal to give us the lead, and right before the break, the same man scored again to give us the lead on aggregate. Just 8 minutes into the second half, we scored again, this time through Chanelson's header from Serdan's cross. And with that, we win 3-0 in the second leg, and 3-1 on aggregate to move into the semi-final.
No, they just need holy water. The blood of Jesus. That's all they need and they'll be fine.
Some bad news though is that Shaq's injury against PSV means that he's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a twisted ankle, so he'll basically miss the rest of the season. The two next league games, we win 1-0 against Hertha Berlin and 3-1 against Köln. So after 30 league games, we're up to second. We're only 3 points behind Dortmund in first. And we're also playing them in the second to last game of the season. It's so incredibly tight though. Dortmund have 62 points, we have 59, Bayern have 58 and Leipzig have 57. In the semi-final of the DFB-Pokal, we've got Freiburg away. Barrios scored this insane long shot after 26 minutes to give us the lead. And then, straight from kickoff in the second half, we scored through Region, just 18 seconds into the second half. Glatzel then scored against us in the 88th after this crazy Route 1 Brexit football variant. But we win 2-1 in the end, and we're through to the final of the DFB-Pokal for the first time in this save. And there we'll face RB Leipzig and Julian Nagelsmann for Nagelsmann versus Nagelsmann 4. Region's knee got fucked against Freiburg though, so he's out for 7 to 8 months with damaged cruciate ligaments. Before the semi-final in the Europa, we're playing last place rival St. Pauli in the 31st league game. We win very comfortably 3-0 as Viper scores 1 and Acuna gets a second half brace. And with that win, we're within a point of Dortmund in first. Dortmund drew 1-1 against Union Berlin, so we've basically caught them, and we can go past them after our semi-final in the Europa. We've got another Dutch side in the semi-final, as we've been drawn Ajax. We're at home in the first leg and need a good result to take with us to the Johan Cruyff Arena. And oh my did we get that. We win 5-0. Chanelson got himself a hat-trick despite missing this Panenka pen. And Moukoko and Barrios got the final 2 to basically guarantee our place in the final. Before the second leg we win very undeservedly 1-0 away to Wolfsburg. Silas scored with this insane solo run as the only goal. Dortmund also win their game, so it's all down to our game against them.
I have no knowledge of any of this. This is so bizarre.
The second leg of the semi-final was quite boring, as we drew 1-1 as Acuna and Hato scored 1 for each side. But we're through to a European final, and we have a chance of winning the club's first ever Europa League. We now have the biggest game of this save. It is quite literally a title decider in the second to last league game. There actually weren't a lot of highlights, but in the 16th, Chanelson scored this free kick through the wall. Imagine if a bad wall is the reason for Dortmund not winning the league. The next highlight came not long after the break. Mittelstädt got his second yellow, and we're down to 10 men. But Dortmund didn't create a lot, and only had this chance, which Van der Voort saved. So we win 1-0 against Dortmund to take the lead of the Bundesliga. Basically half the game with 10 men, and we still won.
You suck!
So before the final league game of the season, our task is very simple. We only need to avoid losing, and we're basically safe. But ideally we win and guarantee the title. We're away to Freiburg. Acuna scored an offside goal after just 8 minutes. Dorsch then hit a bar for Freiburg, but that too was offside. Not long after the break, Moukoko scored a tap-in from Serdan's pass across the box to give us the lead. And in the 71st, Vipers got a classic rolling down the shin half volley to double our lead. And Freiburg couldn't get anything past us. So we win 2-0 in the final game and we're Bundesliga champions. We've won the first Bundesliga since 1983 for Hamburger Sport Verein. So we finished 2 points ahead of Dortmund after an incredible 5-way title fight. By the way, we only lost 1 game the entire second half of the season, and that was the first game against Hoffenheim in January. Now it's time for the Europa League final. Such a big game for the club, as we can win our first ever Europa League title. We have won the UCL before, but that doesn't matter now. At least not for the master himself, Unai Emery.
Good evening.
We're up against Manchester City, a team we beat 3-0 in the league phase. City are favourites though, and they have an insane team, with Haaland, Foden, Wirtz, Rodri and Ruben Dias. They have Ange as their manager, after going through Pep, Ancelotti and Mourinho in just over a year. The first thing that happened in the 22nd was that our best player this season, Chanuson, got injured, so Silas has to come on for him. But he did have some serious fun against City the last time we faced them. 10 minutes later, Coyote hit the post from a corner, and Rico Lewis scores an own goal as he heads it straight into the back of the net while trying to clear it. Van der Voort then saved this free kick from Foden. But from the following corner, the Bast scored a rebound off of Van der Voort's brilliant save. Right before the break though, we scored from another corner. This time it's Terzic who scores a header at the near post. At the break I had to make another sub due to an injury, as Shaq had picked up a knock, so Moukoko takes his place against his parent club. In the 66th, McKennie took this long throw to Terzic, who took it down and squared it for Coyote to tap in from a yard. Just 4 minutes later, Van der Voort made this decent stop, and played an insane long ball, which Acuna flicked onto Silas, and he scored with a great finish to make it 4-1. Van der Voort then made a couple of good saves to keep it at 4-1. Mittelstädt then also got injured, so that's our third sub we've had to make for an injury. But it doesn't matter, as we win the Europa League final 4-1 against Manchester City. And it's our academy lad Mikael Seifert who lifts the trophy, as he was the captain in the final. What a moment! We still have another final coming up, and both Chanuson and Mittelstädt will miss out on it. Both their injuries are so bad that they are out for a few weeks and are out at the final. It's time for the DFB-Pokal final. We're up against RB Leipzig and Julian Nagelsmann. So it's Nagelsmann versus Nagelsmann 4. And this time it's an all-out brawl for a major trophy. We can get the treble, and Nagelsmann kind of has to win to save face, after taking over a double Bundesliga winning side at the start of the season. Seško had these 2 chances relatively early on, but Van der Voort saved both. And then, against the run of play, Acuna scored in the 32nd as Simakan struggles to get the ball under control. Other than this woodwork hit from Ta, nothing happened until the 95th. Olmo scored this tap-in from Nico Williams' insane pass from the edge of the box to equalize. And then another highlight came under 2 minutes later, and Schlager hit the post, so it's extra time. We dominated in extra time, but we either missed, scored an offside goal, or hit the woodwork. So it's time for pens. Mukoko is up first, and he scores. Olmo then tucks his. Silas is up next for us, and he smashes his past Grabara. Nico Williams is next for Leipzig, the reason they're here, and he misses as Van der Voort saves. Serdan scores our next one before Sambi Lokonga misses. Van der Voort stays in the middle and saves it. Mike Wazowski can win it for us here if he scores. Yeah, he missed. Lukeba is up next for Leipzig and he has to score to stay in it. And he hits the post. We win the DFB-Pokal to complete the treble. What an insane season! And Nagelsmann also finally gets one over on Nagelsmann as he steals the trophy from his name brother. We are gonna go for one final season as well, to see if we can replicate the incredible success we've had this season. And if we could do the unimaginable. And win the Champions League the year after winning the Europa.
Oh yeah? Well, it's about to happen again.